Well, when you say and go,
Hi, everybody.
But you didn't play the intro video.
Well, we're doing a
Joe.
special episode today. Do you want me to play the intro?
No, I don't. I was really hoping you just pick a random intro and play it because that would be kind of the most fitting.
Let's do that. Okay.
It might have the Star Wars Lego set Death Star, but can you chug a sparkling water and not burp? Oh my gosh! What do I do?
Yep.
Welcome to this special episode of Retro Repair Roundup, everyone.
So
the rules are made up and the points don't matter.
Yeah, that encapsulates my entire VCF Midwest experience. Good night, everybody.
So we're all here tonight to discuss or commiserate or do whatever you want to talk, congratulate, whatever. I don't know. Adjectives are hard. About VCF Midwest 2024. Mm-hmm. We all had the wonderful, what do you want to call it? Pleasure
of a great time
in person. It was great. So, what's that, Ron?
We had a great time.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was super.
It was great, and it was a time.
Mm-hmm. I got to meet all my friendos in person. So let's say hi to everybody. Ron, hi, Ron.
Hi. I almost said Steve. Hi, Joe.
We got Dave. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Joe.
Tom.
Hi, Steve. I mean, Joe.
Hey, hold on. We got Jeremy of Jeremy's Retro Bar.
Hi,
We've
Joe.
got Steve. We've got Ian Polto Scott, Eric's Edge, Ryan Hayward, and of course me, Paul Lind, center square to block. So let's chat a little bit about VCF Midwest 2024. Don't really have a specific, I don't know, direction or plot or plan for tonight, other than to just.
That's great. I do, Joe.
Joe. Well, Ron's got a plan. The problem is Ron is now frozen. Now Ron is back.
Not frozen.
Do your plan, Ron.
All right. The plan is this. Hey, we should just maybe talk about neat things that we saw, neat things that we picked up, plans and fun things that we went and did as a group, and then maybe talk about plans for next year, and then wrap things up.
Cool. Sounds good. Who wants to go first? Anybody? Anybody at all? Dave, go.
Well, excuse me. This was my first VCF event of any, and I thought, well, why not go to the one that's the biggest of all? So that's what I did, and I'll tell you what, it was amazing. It was very overwhelming. It was just a sea of tech, old vintage tech out there. So much things going on. People learning how to solder. People having LAN parties. Everybody chit-chatting, hanging out. Just everybody was so nice and gracious. I had, during Saturday, I had 4 random people just come up to me and say, hey, I really like your channel. And I mean, to me, I'm just a little speck on the wall, but that was very nice, made me feel good. So I appreciate everybody. And one of the people that...
Dave, to be fair, 2 of those people thought you were LGR.
Sunday, I thought to myself, I needed a keyboard. So I walked around and found some keyboards. Yes, Garth. Anyway, so I picked up this one here. It needs to be a little love to it. It needs to be cleaned up. But this gentleman here, he follows the channel, and I just want to give him a shout out there. Thank you very much, Chuck, for donating that to me. I really appreciate you. And yes, it was very nice. So it was just, it was great going after the shows. We go up and we hang out in the lounge and stuff and had fun. And Ryan was bringing us all kinds of exotic things from Canada to try out and eat. And he was... And I was sampling the exotic Arctic beer from icebergs that Ryan brought, and it was. I'm not a beer drinker, but by golly, that was pretty good. And but yeah, it was a great experience. I wish I would have been able to stay all day Sunday and go home Monday. So maybe next year I'll be able to do that.
Dave, you could have. You just had to push your flight back a day.
I know they kept pushing it forward for me. So, but anyway, yeah. So yeah, and I got to meet a lot of people there, and I got to meet the people that's in here, hang out with them. But Sean and Taylor and Amy and Veronica, Macintosh Librarian, Mackie. It was it was just and Jeremy and Ian and just oh my gosh, it was just so wonderful. But I just can't say enough good things about the event. I hope that a lot more people can go to it next year. I mean the facility was ginormous, and I don't have anything to compare it to, but it looked pretty big to me. So yeah, so that's it.
It was about the same size as DashCon.
Yeah, it's exactly the same size as DashCon.
Sorry, bad joke. Anyway, continue.
No, I'm good. So yeah, so I had a great time though, and I want to thank all of you for being so gracious, and we had a good time.
Yeah.
Yay! I gave away a lot of your stickers, Dave.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, people were like, "Who's Dave?" I'm like, "This is Dave."
Yes, I seen them actually. The magnets plastered all over the place. So,
Why does this IBM hard
there we
drive
go.
not work anymore?
All right, there we go. Yep.
You're going to get an angry email from the event staff being like,
System
"Dear
Source
Dave,
Museum's
whoever
gonna
you
be like,
are."
our IBM 360 doesn't work anymore. Some nonce put Dave's magnet on it.
Yeah, it's a 180 now. We should hear something from Ryan, because Ryan's another first time attendee.
Yeah.
Indeed. First, I wanted to do one thing, which is Dave's magnet goes on the pit.
All right.
Sweet.
There you go. Here, right next to 1-bit FIFA Dreams, who was the only other person to send me a magnet.
I mean, it's not a color machine, so you're fine.
Yeah, even if it was, it'd be fun. It was great. I have nothing like Dave. I have nothing to compare it to, but it was a fantastic experience. It's weird seeing people that you normally see digitally in RL. It's kind of trippy. You're kind of like, oh, like Dave is taller than I thought he was. Ron somehow is nicer.
Wow. Angry when you book them.
Steve encapsulates New Jersey. It's exactly.
Ryan looks way younger.
Yes, apparently I'm not as old as you all think I am. And Mackie surprisingly potty mouthed.
No, that was Krusty you were talking to.
Oh, it was Krusty. That was the other one. Yes, sorry.
Yeah. Rusty.
That was great. I thought the venue was fantastic. I'm only going based on what other people said about last year and the year before. But yeah, it seemed great. I think the numbers I was seeing around was about 3,000 guests. Is that correct? I think that's what was floating around in the Discord.
They don't, since they don't charge admission for the event, they don't really track how many people come through the door. But I saw at least 2 people.
Right.
So but maybe I could have miscounted.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was great, and it was great to see everybody in person. I still am thoroughly enjoying it. It's weird seeing you now. I'm like, oh, it's like we just hung out an hour ago.
You're so flat. Why are you so flat?
So two-dimensional.
Right? Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I will be back next year. I might drive, though. I'm him and Han on whether or not I want to actually take a vehicle.
It's going to take you 18 hours to get off the island.
30 hours to there, 30 hours back. It'll be an adventure.
Jiminy Christmas.
That's something else. It's like you had to take a week off work just to get to the thing to go do.
It's fun.
Yeah. I
And then I
guess
can
it's
just
what you pay for to be the first people to see the sun come up.
Exactly. And also I get to take more stuff back than Steve does, which,
I don't know. Steve's car was pretty full.
it was.
I couldn't recline my seat good.
My back hurts from the lifting and the seat.
Yeah.
And the unpacking. How was your gas mileage, Steve?
2.
Yeah.
We stopped at every exit.
I noticed that the brakes were reacting a bit differently once the car was full.
A bit warmer.
My friend's van, you could tell the back was noticeably lower than the front.
Yep. I'll say that as the bigger venue this year, because Joe made a joke about DashCon, but the venue is the same venue that DashCon was held in. So if you are familiar with that hall from all of the internet infamy,
Is that the kiddie pool?
yeah, it's gigantic. It's huge. You could easily place, I would say, 4 of the old location inside this new location. And that is just because they expanded it even further than they originally intended to.
Right.
My understanding is that they were initially going to rent half of the total available space, but they were going to have to turn away something like 50 or 60 tables. And so the committee made a decision that they needed to add some additional space. So at considerable expense, they added another quarter of the total available space, and we filled all of it. There were a lot of things there that I had never seen at a VCF Midwest before, and that is a dedicated space for people to do bring your own PC for LAN party stuff. So if that is a thing going forward, I know next year to bring a box so you can get in on the Unreal Tournament. And I think I also saw them playing like Quake 3 and some other stuff. So it kind of swapped out during the day, but it was basically there was a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse there. So you just needed to bring your retro PC and plug in, and away you go. There was also a really nice dedicated space. It always, in years past, there has been an area that has been for sort of like soldering projects and for kids to learn, and people, not just kids, but people of all ages kind of learn kind of those different skills. They had a really nice setup this year that was like uniform equipment and a dedicated space that was slightly away, so that way that you didn't have people like brushing right up against the back of your chair while you're sitting there trying to solder something together. So more than any other year, I saw people walking around with their projects pinned to their lapel of things that they had put together. I also saw arcade machines, this is the first year I've seen them in a little dedicated area that had a bunch of arcades all set up that people could go over and play. If you wanted to kind of maybe take a break from the main show floor, it was still on the show floor, but it was just kind of over in a dedicated area. And so it was really, really pretty amazing. Like getting around in there, it still seemed like it was really, really busy. Especially on Saturday morning, there was a point where kind of everything broke after lunch, and things thinned out a tiny bit, but it was just amazing.
Some of my favorite parts of the show this year are the areas that were tangentially related to vintage and retro computing, like the Chuck E. Cheese electronic automation system exhibit.
That was amazing.
That was really
That
cool.
was pretty cool.
The robots that the guy hacked to control with the gyro of his phone, and he was like rolling it around the place, and things like that. Shady Tel, of course, having their even farther than usual, having their entire telco set up in the center of the venue with phone lines that you could plug into and dial other systems on the network. It was great.
And really working cell phones.
Yeah.
That was what blew my mind. It was like, oh wow.
Did anybody in our group here on the chat right now have a phone at their booth? No? Okay.
No.
Alan, who's a friend of mine who came with us to the event, he had a phone at his booth and he forgot a few things at home. So he had to go to Shady Tel and kind of request those items. And it turns out you can't borrow anything from Shady Tel. Everything is a lease. And so when you get it at the end, you get a printed bill from Shady Tel that has all the things you leased, how many minutes of like phone service you used, what numbers you called inside their little matrix of stuff that they have set up. There's no actual bill, but it's they are so committed to the bit.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
that is
amazing.
its own amazing thing.
The most amazing thing I saw was the repair guy. You could dial 611, and he would come to your booth, and he was dressed like a repair guy with a hard hat and a high vis jacket and a clipboard. I was like, that's amazing.
I think they also had like DSL hookups as well.
Yeah,
So
those probably would have been the most reliable internet you could get at the venue would be
Yes.
DSL.
The cell signal was garbage. But yeah, I love the fact that they brought the old like 1930s step-by-step switch equipment. They had right there on the outside aisle, so you could see how telephone switching was back in the olden days, 100 years ago, and it worked. You could dial through it. It was fascinating.
They also had a police scanner. They also had a police scanner. So when you picked up the cell phones and you were using the cell phones, they could dial in the police scanner and listen to your calls.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh, that's a blast from the past. That's pretty cool.
Yes. What's important though is the show wasn't just the show itself; it was some of the different talks that were going on. The auction is also another thing. The wonderful concert at the end of the night; those were
awesome
things as well.
Yeah.
Anybody have any thoughts or input on those?
I missed the auction, so I don't know if they recorded it this year. I know they were toying with the idea of that last year, but I always try and make it there just to, try and bid on something or whatever. But I was at my booth the whole time, so I wasn't able to make it.
Yeah. I was there for the tail end of the auction. I only saw a couple of items actually that were sold, but people were doing their part to run the prices up, because people that maybe don't know, it's a charity auction that helps fund future VCF Midwest. So people dig deep, and they absolutely go over and above. Like you're trying to help have another one of these things next year. So there were a few items that might be like, oh, it sold for like $100, maybe under normal circumstances, that sold for like $200 or $250, just because people, and there's a little bit of a pride thing to be like, I was the one that I snagged that item everybody wanted and helped the event at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw a G3 accelerator card. That went for like $150.
Nice.
And it was like unopened and new in box. That was kind of cool.
And what about that wonderful concert at the end?
So good.
Yep.
Hey, interrupt our boring talk.
Yeah. I sat through two really boring sorry,
talk.
Ron. Sorry, Steve. Talks so that I could have front row seat to the concert at the
It
end.
was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was really good. So the stop bits, it's Taylor and Amy and Veronica Explains and Sean from Action Retro just kind of have a rock band and played a bunch of computer themed songs. My understanding is eventually it's going to be on Spotify, but I think you can go to thestopbits.com and there's a website that Veronica coded on her 486. So you can learn a little bit more about what they're up to. But this was the first time that they had played together as a group in person. They had practiced virtually once or twice maybe, but at the event was the first time they had practiced together in person. So I think they did really, really good for something that has all just kind of come together.
Yeah. That was really cool.
I was really amazed at every single person in the band could play percussion, different levels of percussion, but everybody did that, including a triangle.
Yeah.
So, hey,
it was great.
And it's stopbits.net.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to miss that show, and I really, really wish that, I really hope that it was recorded and I'll be able to actually see it.
Dave recorded the whole thing.
So did I. I also took some still photos with my Mavica
Yes.
FD20.
Those need to be on the website.
Oh, cool.
And I uploaded them gave them to Amy and Taylor so that they could perhaps do some live footage on their
Ooh.
486 website.
Nice. I know that they had a couple of people in the audience filming it on like traditional camcorders just because to get it from a couple of different angles. So I don't know if that means that we're going to have like a nice kind of like concert video kind of thing that might pop up at some point, but I certainly hope that that's a possibility.
Hopefully, it's a bootleg sold out of the back of somebody's car.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
On VHS.
For the authentic
Yeah,
experience.
Exactly.
Yeah, we should build like Grateful Dead cassette tapes from the live recording.
Yeah.
Swap it.
Yeah, this is Fillmore 72. This is like the one where Sean farts on stage. It's amazing. So
Yeah,
a lot of people here ran booths, and then many more just kind of came and enjoyed it. I know that those folks had different experiences where, because like Steve was like, I was married to my booth all weekend. I know that Joe spent like most of his time there talking to people and helping people and things like that.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Everybody on Sunday sounded like Tom Waits. So.
I got around a little bit. I mostly stuck to my booth though.
Yeah, it was so hard for me to get away from the booth. Like harder than last year even.
Hey, it's Clint.
Hey, Clint.
Clint,
Greetings.
yes, all the things you just said.
All right,
Absolutely.
somebody use their Duke Nukem voice.
We can't do it justice.
Our collective
Damn.
voices are shot.
I'm looking good.
I missed VCF Midwest, and all I got was some bad capacitors.
I do think that they did a pretty good job at addressing a lot of people's concerns from last year because it did, like, you know, just to lay it out there. But Clint made a video that was all about last year's event and kind of he did have some good feedback to offer on that. And I do think that they, in good faith, have tried to address some of those things. So I sure hope that that LGR will be back for 2025.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
it just had much of a less crowded, claustrophobic feeling like last year had.
It was much easier to just wander, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had about 10 feet in between tables instead of 3 feet.
Yeah.
So,
And I think it was really good that they put the kind of the YouTube draw on that back side of the event, so that way that there was a big space. It was like maybe from the edge of the table to the wall was like 50 feet. People could kind of queue up. They could not be bumping into each other or not blocking the aisle, and they didn't put exhibits right there next to that, so people could just come up there and walk to the corner and talk to Ken for a few minutes, or they could just mosey down and talk to David or Texelec or any of those guys. So
yep.
It's also good too. They had the big outside door, so I assume if there was a big draw, they could open up the door and people could queue outside.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was
next
helpful.
to the beautiful dumpsters.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where the dumpsters are. A little smelly. Those
I think
doors
it was super helpful to have that venue because of the large loading dock.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the folks like from Shady Tail could just literally roll whole loaded racks right up and into the venue without having to tear down and build up. You know, we're talking like there was big metal there too. There were big whole IBM like card punch machine type stuff, or they're just like, we're just gonna roll it right in, and it just worked. You know, so very helpful.
Now, something that is different than previous years, especially with like the load in, load out, is that there was a point where if you had a cart that was small, there were little side doors and you could kind of get in and out pretty much all day when the event space was open. But if you needed a bigger, if you needed like to get a bigger cart through or something like that, or you had like some huge piece of equipment, there were a few times where you had to wait specifically for a dock master to be on staff, because just the rules of the venue and things like that. They had to basically say, if it doesn't fit through the door, 3 o'clock to 7 p.m., something like that, is when you'd be able to actually load those things, because that's when the dockmaster would be in there and actually open up the big doors, secure everything, and then be on site in case there's a problem. So I know that the hotel was very much kind of the Wild West, and I know a lot of people did not care for that, because there would be people that would go back there and just monopolize that space. But everything this year seemed very, very orderly on load in, load out.
Yep.
Yeah,
The one thing I could say honestly I missed from the old venue was carpeting. My feet were
Yeah, a
killing me.
little harder on the feet.
Yeah.
But it was nice, to have that space. Next year I'm going to bring a floor mat to stand on, so I've got something a little bit easier. These old legs of mine can't take that. So
I just went out in the hallway out front because they had that very squishy, very nice carpet out there, and I just cut a big chunk. just slid a plant over the top of it and replaced it on Sunday.
No, you got to take off your shoes and make fists with your feet.
I think that one of the biggest improvements to this show was the venue, as we've been discussing. But
Disgusting.
It's terrible. The old venue. Although the old venue fit the vibes of like retro computing and stuff, I really enjoyed the amount of space we had, especially in the hotel space. There were so many different common areas with seating and like a little fire pit, or just like a round table and little tables where you could meet at, where you could have a drink, where you could have a snack with somebody. There was a restaurant. There was all these things where the other hotel, it was so packed that when everyone was gathering, it was by that little bistro. We were getting dirty looks the whole time from the staff, and you could maybe fit like 30 or 40 people in there before it was like, oh, okay. I saw so many different people hanging out this time because there was so much more space. Somebody even had a cart with a terminal on it, big terminal and stuff. They were tinkering around.
Someone set up their own bar because they didn't want to pay the hotel price.
Thank goodness for that person.
Why would someone do that?
But yeah, I think that was like a huge plus, because you don't really think of that until it's like after hours of the event, you're kicked out of the hall, but you still want to talk with the people you see once a year. And to me, that's one of the biggest draws of going to the event. Yeah, it's fun to get free crap and all that stuff, but I love that. I think this venue and other modern hotels probably do a great job of that. And so when I saw the amount of space that was going on in this hotel and the amount of gathering areas and stuff, I was like, yes, this is great. And that's why our voices are sore from hanging out until like 3 a.m. talking.
LGR asked, what was the food situation?
Much better.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Didn't
two
have to wait in
restaurants,
line
right?
forever.
Yeah.
There's a sit-down restaurant and then kind of a cafe bistro thing,
Which was a Starbucks.
right? And then didn't they in the booth or sorry, in the convention hall? Wasn't there like a place that had food as well?
Yep, they opened the concession
Yeah.
stand back.
Yeah, they had personal pizzas and things like that. I bought one and a tea. I think it was $14. So it was reasonably priced considering where you're at. It was a tasty pizza.
The cafe also had the best, and Garth can attest to this, the best canned wine.
That's high praise.
Sparkling Muscatel from Ohio.
I will say that the little market, I think they even called it marketplace or something, was in the actual venue, or the actual show space. That when you went in there, my only complaint was they only had one person working the register, and it was cards only, which is fine. That part's the cards only part's fine, but you probably need to have one more person there. So, but that's on the venue. That's not on the event.
Yeah, I think the venue underestimated.
I think so too.
Like the draw.
Yeah.
Like I think they said there was like a minimum of like $3,000, and we blew, or not we. The event blew way past that.
Yeah. Well, but they didn't just have pizza and like churros and chicken strips and things like that. They also had a refrigerated little section that had some nice kind of deli sandwiches and stuff like that in it. And I grilled mahi mahi sandwich, and I was kind of like, well, if you're gonna die, convention
Gas station sushi.
yeah, I was gonna say convention center fish, but I had it. And it was really, really good, and it was seared, and it kind of like it had like just a little bit in the middle that was just kind of just under, but that was how it was. That's how it was sold.
Ron, do we have to cut your gastric splanchnic ganglion?
Yes, you do. I was born on the sandwich. It's like my parents came over on the sandwich. But
anyway, sorry, deep cut.
No, it was really good, and I mean it was very reasonably priced.
Marge, I'd like to be alone with the sandwich for a few minutes.
Oh my!
Well, that hotel restaurant. Yeah, I love the buffet breakfast. My gosh, it was it was fantastic. You didn't walk away hungry. Yeah. What's that?
It's amazing how much bacon you can eat and not have strange looks when you're eating bacon.
I will also say a hotel with a functioning elevator, let alone a bay of 6 elevators. I went up and down to the room carrying stuff on a cart and all this stuff so many times, and not once did I have to wait like more than half a minute for an elevator to come.
Yep.
And there was always an empty one. What was really neat, I think they had it programmed as the lobby always had a door open. So, it was just elevator waiting. And even though there was a wedding going on, there was another event going on, and our event going on almost simultaneously, it never seemed like it was like, oh, this hotel's too busy or whatever. It would be nice if they had a second elevator bay. It looked like there was one, and you go there and it's like, oh, wait, there's not even a stairwell there. But, it's you get your steps in, I guess. But, it was nice to not have to lug CRTs up steps like the old venue.
Yep.
The one problem I found with elevators was if you have too many people in there and you're going to too many different floors, it will actually cancel all the buttons. It prevents people from like going there and like pressing all the buttons and then running out.
They did that because of you, Tom.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the anti-Tom Barber elevator patch.
Well, first we thought it was we had a bunch of people in an elevator, and then later on I went to pull the push every elevator button before I ran out prank on someone, and they all lit up, and then they all went out, and it's like, oh, the elevator's just anti me.
Foiled.
I really wanted to visit the Indian wedding because the food smelled great.
They made us walk over the catwalk.
Yes, it was slamming. Whatever they were doing was insane.
They were slamming and jamming.
They had a great time.
Yeah.
Also, during Ron and Steve's talk, the sub notes of bass drops and techno beats were fantastic.
I think it really elevated our discussion.
It did, yeah.
I think the Scott did a pretty good job of obliterating that background noise, though.
They did the best they could.
Yeah. Yep.
So I would like to ask about the elephant in the room, which would be the free pile. What are our experiences with free pile this year?
I didn't pick up a single elephant off the free pile.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know if it was overhyped, but I was slightly disappointed as a first timer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It was not especially good this year.
Yeah, I thought the same. Every time I went by, it always seemed to not have anything.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of people just brought like cases that they had pulled everything good out of, and then threw a pile of just of computer cases up. So it was interesting.
Keep in mind, we had a lot of people there for the first time that had never been there before that may not have completely understood the rules of the free pile. Because I did see people going over there because there was like an LC 550 and like a LC, a couple of like all-in-one Macs, and people went through and like they just pulled the boards out and left the machines. You're not allowed to do that. You're supposed to take everything.
Take it and go.
I don't know if you guys. I thought it was great because I picked up this Unix administration book and
nice. Sorry, who picked that up?
Somebody picked it up for me, actually. You did. I had it mixed in with the distributed operating systems manual that I picked up from the free pile. So there was
My
some
table
interesting stuff.
My table is right by it, so I could kind of keep an eye on it. And there was some good stuff on it, but it went super fast.
Like the big box PC games, those disappeared in like 3 seconds.
Yeah. Someone picked up a Power Mac 6500 with a Sonnet accelerator of some kind in it.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty decent. And from what I saw, there were a lot of CRTs that were actually really good, like VGA monitors and stuff.
Yeah, I picked up a power computing CRT with like a 14 CRT with speakers in it, and it doesn't power on, so it's just a computing CRT, I guess. But it's in nice shape and everything, so hopefully it's just a simple fix.
I'll trade you that for an iMac.
I collected some bits of wire off the free pile.
I actually
Steve did that.
Cool. Yeah. And then Dave was like, I've been repairing TVs for decades, and just like licked his fingers and twisted the anode cap off. And he was like,
oh, yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
I think Tom picked up some keyboards from the free pile for me.
Oh, those were ones I brought.
Those are ones you brought. Okay, they bypassed the free pile.
Yeah, they were going to go to the free pile if you didn't want them. But those were ones I got from Ron. So they went from Missouri to Connecticut to Illinois and Michigan.
All around.
So those keyboards had a adventure.
I got a bunch of connectors, like for motherboards and stuff. There was just bags of these over there that were just different serial ports, PS2 ports, game ports, stuff like that for 486, Pentium motherboards and stuff. And I was like, you can never have too many of these. There's always some project or something. So there's 5 or 6 bags of these, and I felt okay just taking one, and the rest of them disappeared shortly after that.
Yes.
I did get some pretty good stuff off of Ryan's free pile. Where Ryan had his own cart that he was rolling around, mostly giving out network cards new in box.
Would you like a 3C905C EtherTalk 2?
But I did get a 386 motherboard, so that was nice.
Yeah, there you go.
That's nice.
That one's signed,
cool.
Isn't it?
Personally signed.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's signed Packet Collision.
There were a ton of Mac AUI stuff over there on the free pile, including like this one that's like brand new,
Awesome.
never opened.
Nice.
Those were kind of cool.
This is for 1-bit fever, James. He wants to finish that.
Nice.
Ooh.
That's not related to VCF.
My only comment about the situation with the tables was it was a little unclear to me, I guess, by the map, like how the corners were. So like the tables were 8 feet and you lost maybe, 3 to 4 feet ish if you were on the corner, which for me, it didn't matter too much because I was next to somebody I knew, and Joe was there, and we were bestest pals, and we were able to sort things out. But
I was able to touch Steve's butt.
there was a lot of bumping into each other. That's where the came from.
Steve, you were hidden behind the anus, though.
Yes, the Apple Network server was blocking me.
And
It
that
blocks out
was
the sun anyway. So.
that was really cool. Dana got that up and running. That thing was so cool.
Yeah, I'm
to see
gonna,
that thing
I'm gonna
run.
post a little clip of that. I had to fish it off my phone, but that was the only little frustrating thing. Was like, okay, the tables were kind of in a way where if you didn't have enough space, you thought maybe one table's enough, and the other minor thing, again, very very minor, they did an amazing job for the show, but there was only, at least in our section, there was one opening. So in order to get out of our huge section of tables, there was one opening. You had to go around, step over a bunch of wires and dodge people's tables and stuff, and I always felt like I was going to trip over something. So
you had to climb over my pile of stuff I had set behind me because I didn't have.
And how many times did Ron's backdrop get knocked over? Like 900 times.
But he's got a new design for next year. We're going to have buttresses and extra.
Actually, I'm just putting spikes on the top, so people just you only gotta get hit with it once, and you learn your lesson.
The bodies stacked around the poles will hold it up.
Yes.
Yeah, I did feel like I was home one bit of dodging all the crap on the floor. Get out.
Yeah.
I did find if I wanted to quickly get across the show floor, because the tables were so huge, you did have to across there wasn't like a clear path. There was like 3 or 4 rows that were clear and they were the same, but then in the middle they had the tables bigger than the two on the ones on the side. So like you had to kind of like snake through to get to anywhere.
So it was
Would
like
have been
driving
nice.
through Boston, not Manhattan.
Right. It
It's
would
like-
have been nice if it had more of a grid set up with the tables, but I mean, it's such a minor gripe, but I mean, just kind of getting around.
Calm down, Bruce. Take your medicine. I'll be okay tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the reason for the layout of the tables was due to where the power points
Yeah.
were in the floor.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and I
there's probably
understand.
reason for it.
Perfect world, there would be, an exit, more than one exit. I think it really made me think, do I want to get out from my table and go look around real quick versus in previous shows, I'm like only 2 or 3 tables away. But understand each venue has its own layouts and restrictions, and cramming that many people into a space of that size is an art in itself.
Yeah, all those restrictions aside, I think that they managed to do a really good job at packing everybody in without it, aside from being behind the table, without it feeling way too cramped.
Yeah.
If you were just an attendee and not a vendor or a booth holder, you could just get around. They almost did like a weird Supinski's spiral or whatever with the layout to maximize interface space, while allowing little side pockets that would go into the table sets in a few places to allow people to get into and out of the way of the walk areas. So I with the venue restrictions, I think they did a good job. But yeah, having the table sets split into 4s where there are entries and exits on all 4 corners instead of just like one spot for like 20 exhibitors, I think would have been an improvement.
Yeah, I liked being in front of my table because I was like showing off computers running stuff, so I was always going back and forth between.
Yeah.
Now, would that have been a security thing? By only having one entrance, one exit, you kind of minimize the ability for people to get in behind your table and muck
I
with
suppose
things,
so.
right?
Yeah.
Then again, if you're lugging around a CRT with a bunch of cables on the back, dragging a desktop behind it, I think it's pretty obvious. You have something you shouldn't.
That you've stolen something.
Well, Steve, everybody was doing that because everybody was just buying and selling things. So it's like, hey, that guy's taking my computer. Are you sure?
Right.
In fact, Steve, I vaguely remember there being a shopping cart you were using that was full of stuff.
I disavow any knowledge of any such cart.
Yeah. I kept telling anybody I saw with that cart all weekend. I said, "Hey, Mom said to pick up eggs before we check out."
There were a couple of oopsies. Like I almost got away with Steve's stuff once.
Yeah, that
Stack
was
of stuff on the table. I'm like, oh, this is good.
yeah. Well, there was a seller who was very overwhelmed. So I'll digress talking to that if Ron wants to continue with this topic before we jump on to another.
Oh no, we can talk about whatever. Go.
Yeah,
go,
so there
go.
was this guy's named Dan, and his wife was Robin. They were excellent people. They were very patient, especially because the horde of people that pounced upon them from the second the show opened until the second it closed must have been a very different and new experience to them. But I believe he was an Apple dealer back from the early days of the Lisa and the Apple II and the Apple III. And so he had basically everything all the way up until probably 99, 2000, something like that. With a focus on the earlier stuff, he also had some, I think, some Deck Rainbow stuff, some IBM stuff, some other random stuff. And there was things I've never seen in person. There was a Mac Charlie that I saw somebody walk away with.
Yep.
There was an Apple Lisa there. There was an Apple Network server. He had a 20th anniversary Macintosh and all sorts of things. And the more you dug deeper, you would take a break, go out to the truck and get a fresh few boxes on the cart, unload. And so, every time I go, here's $50. All right. Oh, I'm satisfied. I got the thing. Go back to the table and come back, an hour or so later. Where'd all these other boxes go?
And those guys' table is very much in the sort of the what this event is like, where it's you go in, you dig through the stuff, and then it's like that sells or it gets moved, and there's like a fresh layer of amazing things underneath. And so you have to keep going back throughout the show. Once you identify those booths, you just keep going back throughout the show, and eventually you're able to hopefully find that amazing item you're looking for.
Yeah. I think I had his email on PayPal. I have to go message him because there's one or two things I took pictures of during the end of the day where I didn't have room in the car, or I knew I wouldn't be able to fit. And they were little add-on cards or stuff, so might be able to see if I could contact him. But very patient, especially with the horde of people asking questions nonstop. And just a stand-up guy of like, okay, look, I'll make you a deal if you get this many things. Open to negotiation. All the prices were extremely fair, and that's just like one of the things that you expect from VCF Midwest. It's not, New Jersey or New York or California or places where the prices could sometimes be kind of high. It's like this guy was happy to clear it out. He was happy to say, no, you can't take that because that's part of this, but I have this, So he was very organized with that amount of stuff, which blew me away. So I was happy to keep spending money there.
I went back so many
for better or
times.
worse.
Yeah, I went back so many times, bought so much stuff from him. There was a couple of times he said, I'll just take it.
Yeah.
I got this bag from him.
Wow.
Which is
I'm so glad you got that, Ron. I was so tempted to pick that up. I'm glad you ended up with it.
phone net pack.
Yeah, it's like a never opened 3-pack of phone net stuff.
And it will remain that way forever.
It will. It's so cool. Little things like this. Something that Steve and I found, we were there at his booth and we were going through, and he had a bunch of LC cards in bags and such. And all the folks here have heard this story, but this is for the people at home. But we went through, and I was like looking through stuff, and I said, Steve, walk with me over here and follow my lead. And we walked over there, and I had like a video card for like an LC, and there was a Faleron, like one of those dual Ethernet cards and things. I just had a couple of things, but I was like, hey, how much do you want for these 2 video cards? And the guy was like, I don't know, like $20 a piece or something like that. And I said, sold. But now hold on, because I'm about to change your life. And one of the cards was an Apple IIe option card that he just mixed in with a bunch of junk. And I said, you need to just hang on to that because that's a high dollar item. And gave it back to him. And he was like, oh, wow, thank you for being honest. And it's like, and I think that's part of our hobby is that, sometimes there's deals to be gotten and things like that. But then there's other times where, you've got an opportunity to be like, this person does not know what they've got and to not take advantage of those situations. But we gave it back to him, and then he charged me full price for everything I wanted to buy. So
I think I got your discount later on, Ron.
Yeah.
Makes you feel better.
Yeah. But
there was also that next sound box you saw. That was I'm so thankful that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
And this gentleman just had a bunch of random doodads on the table, and the next logo wasn't on there, so maybe some people just thought it was a speaker or something. But it's funny. I handed him the $15 or whatever, and he's like finishing his lunch gradually, like coming over to me. It's like couldn't care less about the sale.
Well, I went up there, and he was eating that sandwich, and I said, hey, how much is this next box? And he goes, I thought he said $115 or something. I was like, oh, okay. I said, yeah, I mean 115. And he goes, no, 15. And I said, because he's like choking. He was an older gentleman. He's kind of choking through. I said, can you hold this for like 10 minutes? I'm gonna go get the guy that wants to buy this and bring him back. And he goes, okay. So he he had that turtle nervosa, whatever. Like he's just kind of just moving slow, doing his own thing, and it's fine. It's if you're not in a hurry, you get to a certain age and you're just not in a big hurry. So, But we got back over there, and he's like trying to talk to Steve, and he's trying to eat the sandwich at the same time. It's like nobody, I couldn't understand what he was saying. Steve couldn't understand what he was saying. I was like,
yeah.
Steve, just give him $15.
Well, I gave him the $20, and he took it, and then he's eating the sandwich. I'm like, is he going to give me change, or should I just let him keep the 20?
Mhm.
And it was like a solid minute and a half of him just like looking at me. So,
Yeah.
that was great.
Sorry, Ryan will change, but he gets the bites of my sandwich if you want.
Yeah. He finally reached. He got his wallet. He's like, 1,
Yeah, no, it was singles too.
2, 3.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it's great. But no, there was like so many cool little things like that where people just had just like, I just got a bunch of stuff here and I don't know what to do with it, and so I'm gonna get rid of it. There was a lady that was over there kind of down the way, I think, from our friends at Tech Dungeon, the Hills. There was a lady whose husband had passed away, and he was a big radio collector. And so she had a lot of new old stock parts and just like vacuum tubes and valves and you name it, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And even like some small like Bakelite kind of generic cases for people that wanted to build their own. So this is a guy that had been in the hobby for quite a long time, or had picked up a lot of that stuff just through his journey. And she was there. She was just like, I just trying to, because this seems to be where the people are. He used to come to this event and this would be the place to sell it. And so a lot of people, when they kind of got word of what was going on, they just went over there and just kind of just bought things that maybe didn't need or whatever, but just to try to where it's helper, where you're not taking so much stuff home.
Yeah, I managed to get rid of all of the stuff I brought. So I was very happy about that.
That's great.
Thank you, Garth, for helping me set prices that were reasonable. And things moved pretty swiftly. I was even able to give away a couple of things. Savvy Sage was admiring one of my mice. I had a little basic Microsoft mouse, and he was like, I'm like, take it. He's like, really? So,
gosh, mister.
Gosh,
that
Mr.
That was the one that I wanted.
How nice of you to give things away. Everything I gave.
Thank you, Santa Claus.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan. Ryan wanted it, but
Oh yeah, there's Dave's accelerator.
Oh yeah,
from Eric. Yeah,
nice.
Play with it this weekend.
Yeah. And then there was a kid that was admiring a $20 one of those Duo 2011 MacBooks, the plastic ones, the white ones. And I had it marked at $20. I didn't have the power supply for it, and he was admiring it. And I just saw that look of, I got $20 burning a hole in my pocket. I wonder if my dad will let me buy this. And so I said, well, ask your dad if you can just have it, if it's okay if I give it to you. And he's like, Dad, this guy's going to give me this for, and he's like, oh, what is it? And I said, well, I don't have the power supply for it. I don't need it. And he's like, oh, I can get one for that. So yeah, sure. If you sure you want to just give it away? I'm like, sure, here, because, if the kids don't have cool stuff like that, then the hobby's going to die out.
Exactly.
So
for sure.
I picked up a new album while I was at VCF. I didn't buy a lot, but I did get a new album.
Nice.
It's the Dark Side of the Mac.
Yes.
True. It's true. I gave away a few of those.
I was so busy I couldn't even steal a CD from you.
Well, see, I knew you were going to be so busy, Steve, so I stole a second one.
Yes. Now you're going to sell it to me for the low price of $19.95.
No, I'm sending it to Trina.
4 installments of $19.95.
I bought.
Oh wait, there's more.
A brace of mice.
Is that your next album, Ron? Just maracas of mice?
Yeah.
Maracas of mice. That's great.
Maracas of mice.
Yes.
You get the single click, shake.
On the free pile, actually, I started a new thing this year that I hope other people pick up on and want to do themselves, which is the friend free, which is I brought a cart and there were certain things that were max specific things that I knew that our group might like, and I put all the things on the cart, and I just kind of like was like, or actually my table, before I even set my table up, I put all the things I was giving away out on the table, and it filled the top of the table, a couple little things on the floor, and I was like, if you want any of these things, now is the time to take them, make them go away, and then then I'll set my table up. And so most of our group got rid of things, and then I just had a couple of things left. I had a 17-inch CRT, like an not a ViewSonic, but OptiQuest. I was like, what's the generic ViewSonic? Yeah, OptiQuest. And I also had like a little MDA monitor and some other stuff and some RAM chips and other things. So I ran through and gave those things away. And I was all I had left was like this little pizza box PC. It was like some kind of dual core AMD chip from 10 years ago. It's just not great. And there was a guy, and I rolled over there, and it was by Tech Knight's table. And there was a guy came out, and he goes, "Oh yeah, my parents used to have one of those." And he came over, and he picked it up off the cart, and he didn't really pick it up. He just kind of leaned it back, and he was moving it around. And he was looking at it, and I said, "Hey, can you lift that up like about 6 inches?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure." He lifted it up, and I just took the cart, and I just walked away. That was it. The cart was empty.
That's awesome.
That's great. Mister, you forgot your computer.
No, I didn't. You were the last person to touch it, son.
Ryan did that to me with network cards and modems. He's like, "Here, hold this for a second," and then I hold it.
He tried to do that to me too, but I knew what his game was.
Yeah, that's why I don't accept weird peripherals from strangers.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Ian, did you pick up anything at the show? I mean, you lived at your booth.
I pretty much did. I was actually holding a stack of punch cards. Someone walked up and said, "Do you want some punch cards?"
Mm-hmm.
Sure. And I got some punch cards. And another person walked up with a box full of RAM and said, "You want some RAM?" Like, okay, sure. Like, it's just random people walking up to my table just like giving me things. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Sharp X68000 Pro.
Nice.
There it is.
My new baby.
Nice.
I belted it in the car on the way home. It's like, this baby's not going anywhere. This was a prearranged purchase that I got from somebody that was attending the show.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm going to be hopefully designing a card for it, maybe. So yeah, look to see. I don't know. Still TBD if it's even possible, but like a MIDI card or something else for it.
Hey Ian, I hear you like broken CRTs. Here you go.
No. And another computer I got was an HP 150.
That's
nice.
It's like an all-in-one from 1983, made by Hewlett Packard, and it is an 8088 CPU. It runs MS-DOS. But it is not IBM PC compatible. It's its own strange beast.
Cool.
And I actually used one of these when I was a kid because my dad had these in his office. And I just thought it was the strangest little computer. And I wound up taking one home from the office when I was a teenager, and I used it to dial into BBSs and then like a Unix shell account. So it holds a special place in my heart. So this was another prearranged purchase. So I did not expect to be able to buy one of these. I thought I'd never have one. So that was just amazing. And Curtis, it does have a touchscreen. And what's funny, it just has LEDs around the outside. So your finger interrupts the beam of the LED. It's
Nice.
pretty primitive. So you can kind of see the...
Oh, yeah. Neat.
Well, it's okay. My camera's making it blurry, but anyway.
Very cool.
So, some amazing finds for sure.
Ron, what was your favorite find?
Oh, the friendship.
All of our friendship.
I think my favorite find, I got like a lot of small things. People gave me nice stuff, like Eric gave, it was one of those arranged trade kind of things. Like Eric gave me a couple puppets. If you guys watch Tecmone, He occasionally at the end of the videos has the puppets do things, and those are made by the Henson Company. And he found a couple of them kind of more up his direction and brought them to me, which was really, really nice. I still need to pay you. Steve gave me a couple of nice mouse pads. Yeah, people gave all kinds of fun things and doodads and stuff, and I guarantee I'm forgetting things. So I'm not meaning to insult anybody by not mentioning them specifically, but the big thing I picked up. Oh yeah, and Tom ferried my Quadra 950 all the way from his neck of the woods, so I finally got my Quadra 950. Him and Bomb got together, and so it's had quite a journey.
And I finally cleared out that corner of my kitchen, which I instantly filled up with stuff from VCF Midwest.
Oh no! But I did buy a Mac 128. That was something I've been trying to pick up for years, and I'll have a deal, and it'll fall through, and so. But I was able to finally kind of put one together. The guy that had it, I went and I talked to him on Friday, and I'm like, "Hey, what's your very best price on this 128?" And he goes, "Well, it's marked as it's marked." And I said, "Okay, I'll see you at 1:00 on Sunday." And so I went back over there at 1:00 on Sunday, and I said, "Hey, I see you still have the machine." And he goes, "Well, I don't know, because I was like, I just want the computer. I don't want your bag, and I want your keyboard, I want your mouse, I don't want your software, and I want all this other stuff you got bundled with it. I just want the box." And he goes, "I don't know if I want to split it up." I said, "Well, do you want to carry it home?" And he's like, "Nah, maybe not." So we worked out a deal that we both found acceptable, because I immediately factored in, because there's been a bunch of times I've seen them, but they've been in like Memphis or somewhere. It'd be like, several hours of travel to kind of go do that. So it was like, yeah, this worked out. So
what you
super
don't
excited.
recognize is what factored into this is that the guy was 4'9" and Ron is like 6'8".
The guy was of average height.
I know.
and very nice, especially because he was kind of like calculating and think, because he runs a business, and that's so yeah, he's got to make sure that he's taken care of on his end. So
yeah, Ron stole that computer from Peter Dinklage.
No. I finally got one. Super excited.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I got, Will, from KMac Vintage, he's reproducing the tech step. So I snagged one for him. And I have to put he left the battery out of it because of TSA, so I brought that on board. There's the battery. It's an iPhone 6 battery that goes into and powers it. But yeah, so I'm eager to try it out and see how it works, get familiar with it. But the beauty of this thing is you don't have the cartridges. It's all built into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't go for the $3,000 ones that you see on eBay. So it's much less than that. So, but yeah. And it's got all your ports in the back there.
For people like me who don't know what a tech step is, what is a tech step?
It's Apple's. Well, Steve can probably explain it better, because he's got we got 3 or 4 of them now.
Yeah, I have 2 of them. I mean, they were Apple's technician diagnostics tool. It's pretty handy. It does not work in all situations where the computer is completely not turning on, but it is good for testing video memory or the ROM and power supplies and stuff like that. So it's a handy tool to have if you're into the early Mac stuff, because it only supports so many machines.
Yeah.
And the original models actually had cartridges that you would kind of pop in that would test different machines. But when Dave held his up, you saw all the ports on the back. Those are like loop backs. So you could test ADB, you could test the serial ports, you could test SCSI, things like that.
Yeah. So that was cool. the thing that I picked up. And of course the accelerator board from Eric. Those are my 2 big things that I got. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Will also gave me a Tash 20 and I was like, "Will, have we ever figured out what needs to be done to put images on this?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, you just make an image in like a mini VMAC, and then you just copy to the SD card." And I'm like, "Oh, well, that's easy," because for a long time it was like, "Oh, you have to compile this and compile that and name it this way and do all kinds of crazy stuff." And seemingly that's all been kind of worked out.
practical. One of the things I did was Cubicle Nate wanted an SE. So he lives only a few hours from me. And had we really thought about it, I could have just dropped it off on my way to VCF. We both met at VCF, and I handed him the computer, and then he drove it home. So, but he brought his kids, and they got to see the, 3 of his kids. So yeah, they had a lot of fun. And then I also had a couple of those Mavic cameras that I delivered to Ryan and Ron, so that
thank you. I neglected to mention that. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. So one of the things I picked up, was inspired by Justin D. Morgan, and picked up a satellite to shoot a satellite that I got him to, fire it up. It took a while and show me the screen, and it would like show a little bit of DOS and then boot. So it's worse now after traveling.
Yeah.
I looked it up. It's probably got some bad caps in the power supply because it tries to start and then shuts right down. So I guess it was a common thing. So I've got my own regret that I'll be working on.
Classic Justin.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a lot of goodies from my friends, mostly lots of stickers and of course Steve wonderfully gave me a feeling scuzzy mouse pad. Thank you, Steve. Yes. A gentleman stopped by and he's like, I have extras. You want one? And I'm like, yes, because this is the exact mouse pad I had with my first PC I ever had. So like,
cool.
Give please. A gentleman from Australia at the end of the last day was just running around handing out packages of Tim Tams. And it's yes, I will take chocolate cookies from foreign lands and consume them in great quantities. That was fun. But the because I was attending my booth most of the time, I didn't get around to actually go dig deeply. I was mostly I took a couple breaks and just took a quick walk around, see if there's anything neat. But at the very end, as I'm packing up to leave, Garth Beagle, our wonderful friend, pulls me to the side and says, Joe, you need to come look at this right now. And we go over there, and it's the gentleman who had all of that Apple service stuff. And Garth just like hands me this box. He's like, look, it's an analog board for a Mac Classic. Guess what I need right now? An analog board for a Mac Classic. So I ended up picking up one of those. Now, it's still going to need to be recapped, but because it's never been used, all of the non-capacitor stuff is perfect. Awesome. So I can finally fix this person's computer and get it home to them. So that was
nice.
Cool. That's cool.
But the person that was giving out the Tim Tams and stuff, that's Adrian from Juicy Crumb.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, F that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, Adrian from Juicy Crumb. Thank you for chocolates that I'm eating and making me fat.
The best thing about Juicy Crumb, I think, is the fact that they have a replacement board for your iMac that allows you to turn it into a monitor, basically.
Yeah.
And then Dan from Canadian Computer Collector decided to just make his own from AliExpress parts, and it was terrible. So it was a great example of why you should buy the good thing, not try to do it yourself on AliExpress.
Yeah, I love how when Dan brought it in, he's like, well, I have my project, then I have my backup monitor for when the project stops working.
Yeah.
And every couple of hours, he'd have to turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah, his tower, he had this foam constructed tower. I have a picture of it. I'll be putting in my eventual video. I don't know how he got that from his house to there in one piece. Like, that was a computer that was also like this very castle-esque type structure. I thought that was really, really a lot of fun. So he did a great job of showing off something unique from his channel, and it was great to see him in person.
And it was good to have more Canadians there.
I guess the thing that I was really happy to pick up from Dan, the person that was selling the Apple stuff. I got a few box software things here and there. But as I started digging through, I saw there was a lot of documentation and stuff, and so we started talking. And he's like, "Yeah, nobody really wants documentation." I said, "Well, I kind of like, sort of that weird stuff." And since he was an Apple dealer, he had a lot of developer books and some interesting things that were like drafts or early drafts of documentation, and you flip through the pages and there were notes like replace this image, outdated this, outdated that, just like interesting stuff. So he had a few totes of those, and then he had some other stuff. He had a box of videotapes. One was a AUX introduction on videotape and a bunch of other stuff. Some of them were sealed. And so I went over with my friend James Hyper Talking, who flew all the way from the UK to visit. And we started looking through all this stuff and ended up bringing all that home. So super happy to have that. And he gave me, I bought, about 50 or so CDs, different service CDs and stuff like that. So everything to be archived. And Ron graciously gave me a big box of Apple II stuff to archive. So it's going to be a busy couple of months, but I have something to do during the winter now to keep myself warm. So, yeah.
Speaking of software, this here was on the pre-pile. This is unarchived Macintosh software.
Ooh. Delicious.
Yep. Or at least in the normal places.
I want to thank everybody that helped me find HyperCard stuff because, I didn't have a chance to get to things. And this was a shrink-wrapped HyperCard for Education box. And you may have noticed I've opened it because it's not archived. So this will be put up there.
My friend James picked up the manual for that, but it's a spiral bound, so we could probably scan that in. So
that'd be great.
Yeah. I just have to convince him to buy a scanner.
Steve, what was the laser disc that you had?
That was there's one that's an encyclopedia and one that's an almanac. So I already had the almanac one, but it was kind of missing some pieces. Okay. But this had both of them. And what was great is there's this gentleman, Avery, who was right next to where I bought the stuff from Dan. And he just basically brought he was fairly local. He brought his entire digitizing setup for laser discs and VHS there. And as James and I are looking through the stuff, I goes, "Oh, wow, look at this tape." And he goes, "You want me to digitize that? Like, I'm right here." And I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't want to bother you." And he's like, "I'm literally doing nothing." And then I look over and see the laser disc player and all set up. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, please." So he did a Doomsday, whatever it is, a decode of both of the laser discs that I had and the VHS tape. And he just pinged me on Discord with a low-quality rip of the videotape just, to preview. But it was like super coincidence, like how that only happens at a show like this. That was so great.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, Kalan, that was great. I probably butchered your name. Yeah, the macOS 8.5 boxes we were fighting over. That was fun.
Callan?
Did anybody pick up any Apple facts while you were there?
Ryan gave me one.
I picked up one of each of the different ones that they had.
Nice.
These are really great little sales books. They kind of have specs for different machines kind of this specific era. So they're just cute little books. It was like $10 for the whole pile, but he had like 1 million of them.
I couldn't get a dial tone to get my fax machine working.
Oh, did you get more little shelves?
Yeah, the Hills, at Tech Dungeon. They make these little shelving units. You put just a little board in between and stuff. But they've made some real improvements. They're very pretty.
Nice.
Did you pick up the Apple Fax, Ron? That was the green one where it was like now they had a different design from the previous 90s design. Yes, that's the one. I'm so glad.
No, I didn't.
That's his passport.
Yeah, it is because this is all like very late in the game. Portable computers. It talks about G3 PowerBooks and things like that. So
so one of the things I really like about the HyperCard stuff is finding these training things. It's a cassette tape with the disc and
nice.
Cool. So that'll be fun to play with.
Yeah, that was what I found. One of those in the box, and adjacent to it was the other few. And I instantly went over to Eric and I'm like, "Eric, come here! Make sure you have the stack."
HyperCard. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. And then I picked up one of these HyperCard boxes that had the receipt on it.
Oh, that's cool.
And then And I thought, oh, that's cool. I got one of them. And then Javier came over and gave me the other box that had the receipt on it. So I got 2 of them.
That's awesome. Eric, I know you were demoing your video game. How was that received? Did you have many
pretty good
testers? Yeah.
Yeah. I think I may have to do a few edits on the gore and stuff, because I think the sweet spot for my audience is 12-year-old girls.
Oh.
They would sit there and just, because it's text and it's not, a point and shoot kind of a thing. They seem to really enjoy playing with it and stuff. So, Steve's wife, who is very much like a 12-year-old girl, she sat down and played with it too. So, I might
comment.
Yeah.
Steve's wife is in fact not a 12-year-old girl, just so we're all on the same page.
No, she's of normal adult age.
So, but it went over really well, and I've, when we get to what we're doing for next year, I've got something to add.
Cool. She's only a few years younger than old man Steve here, so.
What?
So you're only 13 years old.
I look great, don't I?
Yes, you do. Well preserved, Steve.
Ow, my back.
I picked up some of those Sony floppy drives that
Ooh.
Gut Bomb says to get for the whatever the heck that
Grease weasel.
Grease weasels. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
I'm ready to get greased.
Was there anybody that you got to meet at the show that you didn't expect to meet, or that was, I don't know, kind of oh, you're completely different in person, or anything like that?
Mackie is bigger than I thought he would. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, hyper talking. I had no idea that he and his
yes,
I don't know, friend, whatever.
Yeah, his friend Paul. Yeah.
Friend Paul were going to be there. It was really nice to see him in person.
yes. I was going to say that too. Hyper talking and seeing Adrian and all the guys from Juicy Crumb and a lot of people that just traveled from the other side of the planet to be at this thing. It was just so amazing to just be like, oh my gosh, you're here. It's to see you in person. And my logo, Hyper Talking, did that a very long time ago. And he came up and he goes, yeah, you sure gotten a lot of use out of that. And I said, I really appreciate you making it. I said, I've tried to pay you 1 million times. And he goes, oh.
This is the Ron's towel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, James gets 1 free floppy disk for every 50 items sold.
For me, it was it's so different when you're like this setup here, on streams and stuff, and then when you can actually see them in person, you get and I must honestly say that what you see on the screen for all these gentlemen here is what you get. They're all genuine. They're very kind. They're very knowledgeable, and like I said, I got to meet Dana from Dana Does Stuff. I've only ever really interacted with him in chat when there was a MacYac and stuff like that. So it was really nice to talk to him and hang out with him. I got to have lunch with Kate and her better half, and Mackie and myself, and somebody else was there for lunch too. God, my brain's going today. Been a long day, but anyway, so had a great time though. Yeah, there you go. And just got to talk about stuff. It was really really cool. So it was really nice to do that. And
Mackies unite.
Mine are upstairs.
Not downstairs. What I thought was really cool was everyone was helping out each other as usual for these events. But so Dana brought his Apple Network server, which we keep joking and calling it the anus because it sounds funny, and that's what you do when you're sitting at the table for 8 hours and you have nothing better to do than make poop jokes. But he had the server with I think a new hard drive or a blank hard drive, and a bunch of people were helping him get AIX up and running. And by the middle of the day, you had the screensaver going and the interface going. That was the only time I've ever seen one of those systems up and running. You've seen pictures of them or whatever, but just seeing the interface there and everything going on, I was taking some video of it. I thought that was really cool because it's awesome. At these events where you get to see that stuff. You hear of these products or these things in person, but to actually find it is really cool. So and see it up and running.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And celebrate the Apple Network server up and running. Dave, Dana, myself, a couple of buddies, or a buddy, and then Mr. McIntosh went out to Portillo's to celebrate with hot dogs. Mm-hmm. So all is good in the world.
Wait, like you met hot dogs there to celebrate, or you went there and then enjoyed some hot dogs?
Hung out with some hot dogs.
Yeah, just hung out with hot dogs.
You met the real Oscar Mayer.
Oh, wow. You met Nathan.
Yeah, Nathan, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Having the opportunity to finally meet Adrian Black, of course, was a big thing.
That's awesome.
For me. He's kind of been one of my internet heroes for a long time. And the fact that he's just a fun, outstanding guy. Is extremely friendly and approachable.
Oh yeah,
I think that's really cool. He does like celebrity people, so to speak. When you get a certain name or certain gravitas, can sometimes have to have a disconnect with the public in order to maintain their own Saturday. Or their own I read the last word of her sentence. To retain their own sanity. But he's able to kind of take that in stride and do the thing. So Jim Leonard, yes, Jim Leonard was there too.
He's a legend.
Meet Jim Leonard, the Moby gamer himself. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, Jim runs all the panels and stuff. And all the AV, and is a busy man during this event.
He's a legend.
To be able to steal like 10 seconds of his time and thank him, especially early in my entire journey of retro stuff. He was one of my early patrons on Patreon, so it's very helpful or very nice to be able to say thank you to him in person. So, yes, Veronica, and Amy. Oh my gosh! Again, super, and Taylor, of course, super awesome people. Sean and his cursed machines right around the corner from us. Yeah, good stuff.
I'm glad it attracted all the cursedness, and most of our displays were okay for the majority of the event.
Yes, he was having a lot of issues with the.
I wonder why.
Yeah. He was blaming you the whole weekend. I don't know. It's all Steve's fault.
One of the problems with the AV stuff is the new venue has a lot of rules about what you can do with their side of the equipment, which, like the stage and things like that, they did not allow you to put gaffer's tape down. So anything that had to be done between sets required completely pulling cables back and then resetting things so that we didn't end up with a Rat King out there on the desk of microphones. And so Jim had to work twice as hard to make sure that every talk had everything that they needed. So nothing but respect for that man.
Yeah, I mean, and stupid me forgot the dongle I needed for the laptop that I had upstairs, and he just happened to find one after Ron's awesome comedy, which I am sad that I was running around looking for my adapter because I heard it was fantastic. And so, everybody who volunteered, everybody who was the showrunner or who, helped set up things or helped secure things or anything for this show. I mean, yeah, we were saying, oh, it would be nice to have you did this or did that. This show was above and beyond and stupendous, like compared to previous events, which were fine also. It just like you could breathe, you could walk around. They were, a lot of the things that, we wish we had in the previous venue were here. And so I just wanted to thank all the organizers, anybody who helped donate or whatever to put on the show. It was fantastic. And I sincerely hope that we have this venue again or a similar venue. I think they knocked it out of the park and I was very satisfied. And for Allison, who visited for the first time, was like, hey, this is a great event. So to have that, perspective of like, hey, this is how it used to be, this is how it is now. I think it was fantastic. So props to them.
Yeah, they really rose to the occasion of having the bigger venue and that many more attendees, that many more exhibitors. Like, yeah, I agree. They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
And Amy pointed out that she doesn't have COVID yet, so I have no symptoms. I'm assuming everybody here is also seems to be free. So I think
100%, baby.
well,
Tested
we're
negative
good.
last night.
Perfect.
I was going to say, I happened to see a lot more things that I was personally interested in at this show than I had in previous years. So, like, I have a very specific niche of liking just Sierra games for old PCs. And I normally in the past, I never see any Sierra games at all. And I saw at several booths, there were some people with some really early charging like a little bit higher prices for some really good inbox things. And then one guy just had every game, like just every Sierra game, set up a booth. He was only there on Saturday, but he just had everything. So you had like original King's Quest and all of these things that I've just never seen at a show like this. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
I know how you've been like, if I could only play King's Quest on the Master System, then my life would be complete.
It came up for the NES.
Mm-hmm.
King's Quest 5, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The original King's Quest on Master System is really terrible though, because you have menus at the top to like select your actions and stuff, and it's just it's like, imagine trying to do anything time based. It's quite difficult.
Right.
So we're coming up on an hour and a half. Why don't we talk about how like things you might want to do different next year, and then maybe we'll wrap things up.
I have something to bring up that affects us in the Blue Scuzzy community. Of course, me and Tom, Eric Helgeson, our gracious leader. Mention this, and I think it's going to be helpful for those of us doing Blue Scuzzy. That one of the things that was a big deal for vendors that are popular is that you're vending the entire show and you don't get to get out and enjoy the show. So hopefully next year, what we're going to do is get one big table for the Blue Scuzzy team and take shifts so that we can rotate that group out and be able to get out and enjoy the rest of the show. So
I think there will be
really looking.
There will be at least 4 of us. So you, me, Eric, and Jay Graham.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be cool. And if it weren't for that, I was thinking about just not having a table next year, just so I can have that opportunity to get out into the community and do the thing. So
Nice.
Yeah, what I would say to anybody who has not attended before, attend it first without a table and get the full experience. Then if you really want to contribute something, or you want to sell products or whatever, or do as some others did, have a table one day and not the other, because especially the size of the show, I mean, there was so much to see and do that I just was briskly walking past things just to get to my table. We were at the far end of the hall there. And I really probably did not see, a good 50 to 60% of the exhibits. And I saw pictures like the Dave was shown before, the 68K restoration section. Like I only saw them at the end of the day when they were closed. I'm like, oh, that's really neat. I wish I'd been able to stop and say hello or whatever. But just a great packed show. The only thing that I would suggest, and a few of us had these discussions, was, understanding that, in the spirit of these shows, they always want to be welcoming and inviting and everything. But I think that, a show of this caliber at this venue with these great perks, I think, they should have a discussion and try and consider having, a charge for adults or something for entering. It's
Agreed.
$5
100%.
or $10, something minimal. I mean, I've been to a few conventions recently where it was like $90 for the weekend, and I happily paid that because I wanted to experience it, and understanding that does set a limit of who can attend. But $5 for adults, or whatever, I think is so nominal, especially when gas is almost that much, So if you're going to be driving to the event, I think you can spare $5, especially people are walking out with armloads of stuff from the free pile or, from whatever. So it just some consideration there. I know how sensitive it is that they do want to keep it open and free for everybody, and maybe there's a program where they give away X amount of free tickets or whatever.
Or do a pay as you can model.
Yeah, I mean, I would, pay what you have or a suggested donation or whatever, because I want us to see this keep going, and I would be happy to donate. Like we had the table fees this year, like happy to donate whatever to keep this going, because it was a blast, and I'd be very disheartened to see it go away.
Yeah, they do try to utilize like the auction to kind of keep things going, but yeah, just just $5 at the door for 18 and over. I mean, just for the first, just to test the water or something on it, would probably help a lot, and just keep people out that are just like don't want to be there or just there to cause problems or anything like that. Thankfully, that was not the case this year, but yeah, that would be
came to
probably a
cause
good idea.
problems with the kiddie pool ball pit.
Yeah.
We saw what you did there, Ron.
I know. You're welcome.
Dan, the computer collector, may or may not have also been caught doing it.
Yeah. This is mine now. I've marked it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point Veronica brings up. Talk tickets to help with fees, maybe?
Yeah.
Nobody will come to any of my talks ever.
Yeah. Like
charge admission to the band.
I was going to say, $5 cover charge for the next concert.
People would pay
$5 to rock.
People would pay $5 to come in and ask Dave Murray the same question he gets asked at every show. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of rough on like smaller talks. They'd be like, I'm not paying $1 to get in and listen to these yahoos talk about old Macintoshes.
Well, I guess if it was like
I have a donation for you. It's a generic gram stick.
Maybe it was like a $1 fee for like a package where you get access to talks or whatever.
Do they have like a donation bucket at the entrance for people to drop in? I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either.
It's the Spark Station.
Oh,
you put it in the
they
floppy
need to do
disk,
something a
floppy
little
spot.
more obvious, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right by like the cashier. So if there's a big line for for merch or for the garage giveaway or whatever, or registration, like you might not see it. So it'd be nice if they had some like more obvious buckets around.
The other thing too is you can, at least we have them here in Canada, you have like the tap to donate. Those are very popular in a lot of places, and they're fairly easy to set up. You can just leave them anywhere, and people can just tap.
Just put your wallet in the slot. And just
The suggested donation is 2 weeks, sir. Damn Timberlake movie.
That's funny. And like Art said, you can donate online as well.
I think the thing that I'd like to do next year is like was said earlier, that it would basically be like you've got like, especially like my booth and things like that, like things are kind of getting more consolidated. It's a little crazy. I've got a bunch of different things, but it would be nice to just be able to be like, I just want to get away for an hour and go do this other thing. So it's here they are, and here's a nice little guide, like laminated sheets or something that explain what things are if people have big questions or whatever. Just kind of cross train people on how to sell things for other people, or how to just kind of manage
Steve would be in.
Ron, you need to train some understudies.
Yeah.
But that's sort of, I guess that's the other thing too, is like where I came and I didn't have a booth. I never thought to suggest or offer my time to volunteer, but I have no problem standing in front of someone's table for a couple hours if it means you guys get to go somewhere, right? And I'm sure there's other volunteers that would also be in the similar boat.
I got exhausted because I was going to go through. I'm just saying, so much B-roll was taken this weekend. It's Z-roll at this point. It's, I mean, it's Z-roll. I was out there and I was filming things. I actually filled up my phone. My phone was just like, no more. And so I was like, oh, so I have like footage of like a quarter of the total space because I kept stopping and talking to people and I kept like really getting in and doing things. And I was like, oh yeah, thanks. And hey, like, are you gonna be back in next year? And it's like, oh yeah. So it all just got to the point where it was just like impossible to see everything and do everything. And
Yeah.
so I want to
I
spend
tried
more
to
time
cover-
doing next year. Sorry.
I tried to cover Ron's table a couple of times for people that were obviously, where is he? I've got money to burn,
Mhm.
And those laminated sheets that would be kind of like, oh, well, this is the blah, blah, blah. Give me the, the elevator pitch for your stuff, Ron, would be helpful.
Yeah.
I have B-roll of Ron filming B-roll. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I have B-roll. Me and Kate have dueling gimbal shot. So she's doing her gimbal shot while I'm doing my gimbal shot.
No.
Yeah.
Don't cross the gimbals.
I know. I do a Macy shot because I don't want to. I don't want to like interrupt the gimbal shot, but I also want to compete. So
Everybody from the 1940s is laughing.
You're welcome. All those Miracle on 34th Street people are like,
what?
And I believe there's a shot of Ron taking a shot of Tom taking a shot on the Sony Mavica.
Yes.
Yes.
There's one of me too.
I would say to anybody who's considering exhibiting, Ron sat me down before the show and was like, Steve, you don't need to take a dozen image writers and 15 Mac clones and shove them in your suitcase and bring them. Just bring yourself some swag and like one thing you want to present. And that was very helpful because I even thought that I was going to bring like my little digital camera, which I did, and I forgot to put the batteries in because there's only so many things you can remember. So if you're going to present, make sure you have everything planned out and keep it small because the people just want to talk to you, and they want to get some swag off you or take a picture or whatever.
And don't beat yourself up if you get there and you don't accomplish everything you want to do. Because like this year it was like, hey, weren't we going to set up like a little local talk network? Weren't we going to set up and do these other things? And people kind of were, and I was like, we're going to get there. I'll bring all the stuff, but we're going to get there. None of this shit's going to get set up. Nobody has time. I was like, it's a neat idea that will not be executed because there's just not enough hours in the day to do it.
Yeah, I plugged my router in and then realized it's not configured, and then like every 20 minutes I go, oh yeah, let me go check that thing, and then there'd be something else.
The only way that would happen is if we pre-configured it in the hotel rooms using Wi-Fi or something before we like went down to set it all up, and then we could plug it in, turn it on, and it was already going.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the thing. I mean, the show is Saturday and Sunday, and after lunch Sunday, everyone's basically breaking down.
Right.
I mean, I know it would cost an enormous amount to extend it to Friday, but I think that as the show grows, that's something that I would be curious to see if they would do, because I feel like we always have this recurring feeling of you're hitting your stride, like, yes, everything's set up, this is great, and then it just goes by so quickly. I mean, I came in on Thursday, hung out a little bit with some folks who came in early. And then Friday was set up, and so you hung out a little bit, and you maybe had some dinner together or something. But I think it was sort of, I don't know if it has to be a full day on Friday, but there was something that would have been nice if maybe there was like just a exhibitors only meeting hall or something. I understand.
Well, that's what Friday is supposed to be. Friday is supposed to be the day but this year it was very much that there were a lot of other people because there were helpers and people like that, and it was fine. And then there was just a point where nobody's watching the door, and just rando people started coming in because because people have just heard that it's kind of open on Fridays. And so, there were a lot of people that were coming in and just like trying to buy stuff and trying to do stuff. And so people just shifted into event mode.
Yeah.
When it should have really just been no commerce on Friday. Go look, go play around, go help other people get their stuff in and set up and go from there.
I will say also on the Friday. So I actually went in, didn't have a thing. I was nervous about it. I was like, they're going to kick me out. And then like found the place. I got a volunteer badge for helping you guys out with your booth. But what I would have liked, kind of similar, is if everybody was set up, because when I was walking around, half the stuff wasn't set up yet.
Mhm.
And so, you had that advantage of being there on Friday without the crowd, but when over half of it isn't even there, there wasn't that much advantage. So
I went.
took me-
sorry,
go
I
ahead.
went all in on badge this year. I RGB'd it. I got volunteer, exhibitor, and speaker. Next year, I'm going to see if I can do the same thing, but I'm also going to volunteer for Shady Tell because they have their own. So see if I can just keep building to the point where I like tripping on the badge. I got so many things on it.
Ron,
Basically,
I
you're
think
gonna
you
look
should
like
convince. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say you're going to look like a North Korean general with all his.
Yeah, all over
I think you
yeah.
should convince them that you're going to be the yellow book salesman.
Yeah,
For their phone network.
I'm out there selling all your Yellow Page ads.
Yes.
Yes.
Look, for only $9.95, you could have this nice, little.
So that's actually not a bad idea. They should put out a phone book. They know where everybody's going to be and what numbers they're going to give people in their booths. They should put out a phone book for the event.
Sell advertising on it.
Yeah.
Stop calling me from the bathroom, Ron.
Could be a commemorative book that you buy. And, yeah.
Steve, are you pooping?
I told you yes.
Do not call me on this wall. This is
It's an unlisted wall.
I like Veronica's suggestion for
Mhm.
having like a sustainer hour or something like that.
Oh,
where,
certainly.
Like a VIP pass where you could come in and talk to the presenters and have, like an hour or two to do that.
Go away, kid, you're bothering me.
And on your badge, you could have like, instead of, you're the volunteer, there could be a special one for people that are, sustainers.
VIPs.
VIP.
Yeah.
Backstage.
The only I assume that's just a staffing thing, right? Aren't there only 6 people who run this thing?
Yeah, 6 people.
So like
It's
you have to have
amazing.
someone who's at the door who knows what's I get it.
No, you pay for that. That's part of if you
yeah.
if you start charging money,
Mm.
then you can afford to do a lot more things. You can have people that come in. You can I mean now that Free Geek Chicago is back up and running, it'd be very easy for somebody to come in and watch the door in an event like this. And just you don't have to take cash, you don't have to do anything. You basically just are sitting there and just watching people come through the door and scan your stuff, pay your fee, stamp your hand, go in.
Yeah, that was the only thing when we were setting up on Friday. I literally had like my hand inside the SE and I was wiring things, and some kid comes up and he's asking all these questions. And I'm like, we're setting up, dude. Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it took me 6 hours to get set up.
Yeah.
It was a long haul. I overdid it, really.
Well, you had a lot of stuff to sell. So obviously, there was a lot that you were bringing in, and there's only so many carts. Everyone's doing it at the same time. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, bring your own wheeled
Yeah.
cart that you
Yeah.
can collapse. Makes
That was the
big
best thing I did this year
Mhm.
was bringing my own cart.
And make sure the car can fit through a standard doorway.
Yes, that too.
I mean, the best option is to go to local Target and take one of the carts.
there was a Trader Joe's cart.
Well,
Get it right.
Yeah, I was
Sorry.
going to say you do have to watch in the United States, Target, especially in bigger cities, like even Wall over there where VCF, because this happened to JVHS and I, their carts are geofenced.
Yes.
Right.
So if you get to a certain part, like the wheels collapse.
Yeah.
There's an IKEA there. We could have gone over there and built carts.
Mhm. Yeah.
And have them fall apart before you got back to the
Yeah,
show.
the wheels are the rancid meatballs in the cafeteria. Yeah,
These are plant-based carts.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yes.
But I miss it already.
I do
Yeah.
too. How many days, Tom? How many days?
I think we're at 359.
Perfect.
It's just
like a week away.
countdown.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. Were we talking about what we were planning to do next year yet?
Yeah,
or is
I
that-
think so,
okay.
So, what are you planning to do next year?
Well, I've set a goal. I actually have a domain account now for it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw it in the chat here. Oh, come on.
Eric's
There you
hacking the YouTube.
All right. So let me switch screens. So you guys know I've been working on a HyperCard-based text adventure game. And I've got a website set up for it now. And my intention is to, and I gave a lot of ducks away because a duck is a prominent character in the thing. I plan on having box sets for sale at the next VCF.
Neat. Love it.
Yay.
So that's my goal.
There are several people in the Apple II community who have successfully launched and done stuff with box sets and things like that. So you may be able to reach out to them and say, hey, so how do I make boxes? And what kind of swag should I put in there? And stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I've actually been looking into how to do it and printing a small enough box that I can hand make them off of 8.5 by 11 pages and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be more like that, Ron. That size.
Yeah, because this is
you just need to give like a 2-sided photocopied set of instructions with a 5 1/4 inch disc in a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, the yeah, like the old shows. So well, it's if I did it on floppies, maybe I'll have a special edition. It's going to be 10 floppies because of all the media files that go with the thing. But but anyway, it'll be there'll be a key with a download link and stuff like that in the box set. I'm doing a printed manual for it because one of the things I miss is having actual physical manuals and that kind of thing. So I'm at the point now where I need to start writing the manual. And I'll use that to help me debug because there's still bugs in it. But it looks like I might have a couple of beta testers to try it out. So
you got to put a pony in there somewhere too.
But there might be.
Nice.
With a Mercedes and a sauna and a room for a pony.
I'll donate if we could name the pony.
Cheese jobs.
Cheese jobs.
It's McPony Face.
Right. Pony McPony Face. Yeah.
Oh yes. So. Yeah. Next year, I'm kind of on the fence because I have 3 different directions I can go. I can go the direction of I am going there to simply attend and have fun. I can go the direction of expanding to my own full-size table so I can do more than just a couple things I was doing this year. Because I had a lot of questions about the other stuff. Oh, you do 3D printed stuff. Oh, you do replacement keyboard encoders and stuff like that. And to not have those things was kind of a downer. But then we also have the whole Blue Scuzzy team wanting to do the split table attendance thing. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do next year, but we'll see.
It'd be really easy to put us. It just takes planning to put us across the hall from one another. It would be great for us to be kind of on. I like where we were this year because it's like we weren't like slammed. But you could actually talk to people and have a couple people in front of your booth and there was flow. It'd be really easy to put the Blue Scuzzy team on that back wall across from Macintosh Shenanigans. So that way that we could feed back and forth and just go right back. And so everything plays off one another in that section, which I think only helps everybody.
Agreed.
Can we wirelessly beam data between our Palm Pilots?
Yes.
From across the hall?
Well, They set it up like an IKEA, so you have to travel through so many booths before you can escape.
Yeah.
There we go.
Every time somebody walks by, the connection drops and comes back.
No, stop it. I'm trying to beam Dope Wars to Ron.
It was almost there this time.
Yes.
Yeah, for next year, I definitely still want to have a table because I basically want to have an excuse to develop another Herper product that I have to show off. But have a concrete plan in place to be able to get away from the table.
Yes.
Whether that's, roping people in to help man the booth or bringing my wife, have her help. So yeah, that's my
Honey, you're hired.
Yeah. I tried it this year, but timing didn't work out.
You pay her $0. But again, if I'm coming as a volunteer, I don't mind stepping in if someone needs a break. You know.
Now you tell me.
No, I got 59 days to rest. Because it was anybody else's feet on absolute fire when you went home.
Yes.
Oh my God. Good footwear is, I think, the number one suggestion for everybody.
We're gonna bring mats to stand on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That would be a good plan.
I cheated and was lazy and just sat the whole time.
Well, I goofed and made a tower of stuff in front of me. I had to stand up, people to see me.
Hi, I'm Eric Satch.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Wilson from Home.
Improvement.
It was a real Kilroy situation.
Yeah.
I also got this lovely Geiger counter from.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And you had no problem getting that on the plane on the way home?
No, not at all. I told them I worked for civil defense, and then I had to take. I'm obligated to walk
the
around
United
with this.
States, if you want to blow something up outside the United States, TSA doesn't care. They're like, you're leaving.
You're somebody else's problem now.
TSA stole one of Dave's vintage Appletex shirts.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he had his polos or whatever with or button-up shirts with his logo on there.
Yeah.
And he had one of those things that said TSA search your bag, and there was a note and it said nice, thanks, or something like that.
That's funny.
And the shirt was gone.
Yeah, he was missing one of his shirts, but.
So if you see anybody cosplaying as Dave, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Canadian Border Security looked through my bag of random garbage or box of random garbage that I brought down. They didn't take anything, sadly.
They looked and like, there's something wrong with this guy. Let's put him on the list.
Yeah. He spent $300 Canadian shipping extra boxes down.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, however, I did fly first class back. It is definitely worth the money.
Well, you paid the discounted rate, so
yeah.
Well, I did because they're going on strike next week, so they want all the money they can possibly get.
So you hope they could go on strike next year as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, please plan your strike around these dates.
I'll do some influencing. I'll go to one of the union meetings. You make how much? That's terrible. You should strike.
You're only on September, whatever.
Yeah. Oh,
cool. Yeah. Coming up on 2 hours. What else? What else people got to offer? Any?
The hotel rooms were really good. We didn't talk about those yet. I don't know if you guys experienced, but
they were nice.
They were fantastic. The bed was very comfortable. The air conditioning was perfect, and the view was nice. I had a lovely view of the water feature out front.
And they had a TV in the bathroom.
Yes, that would literally scare the shit out of you as soon as it turned on.
I went under the counter and unplugged the speaker because it kept shocking me every time I went in there. And then later learned that if you just turn it on an off channel or turn the volume down, it stays in that.
Right.
But I didn't know that at first. It just kept resetting, and I was just like, "There's got to be a solution." And but it was just a RCA plug, and I just pulled that. So
the remote for my TV in the actual room was missing, and when he went in, it was advertising download our app to control your lights and stuff. And I'm like, how about no?
Yeah. No, thank you.
So that's when you power from that.
You disconnect the cable from the back to make it set off my TV is stolen alarm to make them come up and look at it.
I will say, however,
I'm inconveniencing you because you are inconveniencing me.
I've got nothing but ads for Bonvoy Marriott's in my Facebook and Instagram feed now.
Yep.
Something I want to talk about is the panel that I was on, as well as Joe and Ron, who moderated, and other people like Jeff Pietmeyer from FujiNet, Tony Cooker from Pi Scuzzy, and Eric Helgeson from Blue Scuzzy. This was the first time I had ever done anything like that. It was really cool, and Ronnie did a great job of moderating. He had some really neat, insightful questions.
Thank you, Dad.
It was my first time ever interviewing anybody who works at NASA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Jeff works at NASA. Yeah.
Oh, Dave lost power. That's why he disappeared.
Oh,
Yeah, they're having some weather out there.
Cool.
But no, but
and-
thank you everybody for being excellent guests, because I was sort of at first I was like, how are we going to kind of work this all out, because we've got a lot of people on the stage. I want to make sure everybody stays involved. And I think after a question or two, we kind of got this really nice orderly thing where it was just sort of like I'd pitch it to a specific person, and then everybody was just like, now you fill back in, and then backfill to me, and then it's the next setup and stuff. So it worked out really well. We didn't have any dead air. We didn't have any awkward moments. It was just like friends having a conversation. And I think that the information that came back out of that hopefully was inspirational to people that want to start their own projects and start doing some of those other things. The theme of the chat was new solutions, like modern solutions for vintage problems. And I think that everybody up there had some really amazing stuff to kind of offer, and some real insight into what it takes to get those projects off the ground, and kind of what inspires them to keep things going. So hopefully that was, and especially when that comes out on YouTube here in a couple of weeks, hopefully people can watch that, and that'll be what they need, the motivation to get started.
Get out there and do it, folks.
Yeah.
The
Just
only
start.
person who can make your dream happen is you.
Yeah. And then there was,
or a genie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. The genie thing, that's a trick though. Because the genie is there to help you realize what you want, but is absolutely the worst way to go about getting it.
Or if they happen to be a djinn, they're playing a joke on you, and they want you to have nothing but pain and suffering.
Yeah. So cool.
Indeed.
Sauce.
Right.
Great.
Thank you for putting this together, Ron.
Indeed.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I messaged Joe, and I was, because originally we were like, hey, we should do this on Sunday, and I was like, I don't know, it's strike while the iron's hot and whatnot. So because it just wrapped on Sunday, and we got till today. Plus, we've got a guest for our Retro Repair Roundup on Sunday. That's kind of tough to put together. So, and he was like, well, it'd be a month or two before I'd be available again. And I'm like, so let's just do this. So, but we could still hear about work on Sunday, right? I'm sure Trina will have some fun stuff to share.
Yep. And,
Unless she's having a nap.
Oh, she'll have both. Don't worry.
Yes. We're also going to be doing a talk this Saturday, I think, because work is having a thing. Eric Helgeson and I are going to be talking about cool retro, vintage, retro technically. Let's get the term right and not have another argument. No, I'm kidding. But we're going to be talking about retro stuff on a Saturday talk to the people at the work event. So
do you know if that'll be streamed on the internet as well?
I have no idea. It's
okay.
Maybe it's going to be done by means of StreamYard.
Okay.
But they may be only like bringing us into a virtual screen and showing us to the attendees. I'm not sure exactly how that's.
Ryan, my understanding is it's only going to be broadcast on the ARPANET, so you may have to make a few phone calls to get connected.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, fire up your PDP-11 so you can get this packet.
Yeah, I'll get that out of the basement. That's that'll take a couple of days to set up.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, we're 2 hours. 2 hours.
Let's do it.
Eric, why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Well, you can find me at Eric's Edge Videos on YouTube, on bitbang.social, Eric's Edge, on Blue Sky, Eric's Edge. There's a theme here. And I also have a website for the game, and that is what website did I pick? I can't remember now.
Oh Lordy.
Oh God, it's setting in already.
It's on the internet. Just search the
quackofdawn.com.
Yes.
Tom.
You can find me. I've got some really high resolution graphics for this. Twitter at Torbar, at Torbar at bitbang.social, or you can buy some fine blue scuzzies from tom.scuzzy.blue.
Nice.
You can also find me occasionally on Dave's Vintage Apple Tech stream on Sundays.
I'm Steve, Mac84.net. You could also do a Google search or something for Mac84. You might find me. That's about it.
You can buy cool stuff like this.
Yes. Shop.mac84.net. Give me money, please.
And this one, which Eric gets a cut of because it's blue and it says Scuzzy.
I never agreed to those terms.
This is I love it. I love it.
Oh, mine's downstairs. I can't get it.
Ian, your turn.
Yes. You can find me at ianscott.org or polpo.org. They are both my websites. Or if you're interested to find out about the Pico Gus project, go to picog.us.
Jeremy.
You can find me on YouTube, Jeremy's Retro Bar, and then
you just recently relaunched your channel, didn't you?
I did. I made a bar finally, so now I can actually call my channel Jeremy's Retro Bar. So yeah, you can watch that video, and hope to have my VCF video up tomorrow. So
nice.
Sweet.
Cool. Ryan.
Oh, it's my turn, is it?
Yeah.
You can find me on the internet. Apparently, they have that on computers now. At Everything's Broken Garage, like this, or like that if I hold it correctly. You can also we have a website called Don't Mess with Retro, which is helping us expose scammers in our communities. And you can also find me on Friday nights at the Old World Tech Fridays with Trina and Frank.
Cool.
Ron.
Hey, it's Ron from Ron's Computer Videos. You can find out all the neat stuff that I'm doing at ronscompvids.com.
And last, and certainly very much least,
No.
I'm Joe of Joe's Computer Museum. You can find me by going to jcm-1.com and picking up some cool stuff or some t-shirts, or I have all my links to my social media and everything on there, and there's some of them like pointed down here too. So, yep.
Absolutely.
Yay. And be sure to do a search for Dave's Vintage Apple Tech. His internet cut out, but he was here earlier.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And
Well-
because Dan wasn't here, I will show his Canadian computer
Yes.
collector.
Yes.
He
Subscribe to that man.
He was a treat at the show,
Yes.
and a genuinely awesome human being.
He is just a laugh riot. Love that guy.
Indeed.
Cool beans. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. It was a super fun show. Thank you very much to Ron for actually putting the show together and having the idea for this and for doing literally all of the work after I said, yes, I'm busy right now. I'll take care of it later. When I got done from work that day, it was already set up and done. So I'm like, yay, Joe could be a lazy bastard again. Woo! Thank you all who stopped by tonight to watch us flab our gums about this awesome show that we all went to. Remember to hit the like button, do the subscribe, all that stuff. That helps others find our little space on the YubTubs, so we can make this community grow and be more awesome. Thank you all, and have a good evening, everybody. Bye!